Hey BookTube, Chelsea the Reading Outlaw here to do another On My Shelf visit. I want to start for apologizing for this little bit. I film near a window and I've pulled the shades, but it's just that perfect amount of morning sunshine that's like a dappling through. So apologies if that's distracting. For those of you who did not watch the last one or who are unfamiliar with the concept, essentially I put out a call to you guys on Twitter to give me two sets of numbers. A set of numbers, the first number being between 1 and 12, which is the number of shelves I have. The second one being between 1 and 25, which is the average number of books on each shelf. And so I pulled the numbers and we're going to talk about the books today, just to do a fun little exploration of some of the things I have hiding on my shelves. So first up was a number from very, very dear friend Bree at Mostly Bree. She gave me shelf 6, book 17, which was my copy of The Princess Bride by William Goldman. If you have not read this book, it is the same book as the movie, but it's structured a little differently. It's still a frame tale, but there's some really interesting meta-narrative stuff going on about William Goldman being a character in the book, finding the book of The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern, and then editing out the best copies, and that's the story. It does some really interesting things, but it's a really, really fascinating book to look at, structurally and technically. Plus, it is the story of The Princess Bride. This is one of those few times when I actually liked the movie better, because how do you not love that movie? But yeah, The Princess Bride by William Goldman, worth picking up. This is my Del Rey copy that I absolutely love because it's got the Man in Black and Buttercup on the front. Next up was a recommendation from Sydney West at Sydney's Shelves. She also gave me shelf 6, book 17, but of course, since I was going through these in order, that shifted around which book 17 actually was. So then we have Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice. I've read this book several times. This is the only book in the Farseer trilogy that I've read so far, even though I own all 3 of these lovely mass market paperbacks. Look at that. Look at that strapping fantasy lad and the deer behind him. This is the story of Fitz, who is training to be an assassin. He's an assassin's apprentice. And it's the story of his birth, his upbringing, his early teen years, his first kind of official mission with the court. There's murder, there's intrigue, there's double crossings, there's political stuff happening. Robin Hobb is kind of a queen of epic fantasy. She's got 4 or 5 series now that have 3 or 4 books a piece that are all interconnected, that are about the world of the realm of the wildlings, about this world that she's created. They are on my list to get to eventually. The list is long, friends, but that's Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice. Next up was a number from lovely Claire Russo, at Claire Russo, whose channel I will link down below. She also has a really lovely booktube channel. For that, it was shelf 9, book 22, and I got the Guernsey Literary I can never say this title. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. I tried to listen to this recently on audio because of the miniseries that came out, and I could not get through it, although it seems delightful. It is an epistolary book, so it is a book in a series of letters told between the island of Guernsey and the Potato Peel Pie Society and the book club that forms there, and various participants and actors throughout World War II. We meet people who work in the RAF, we meet fighter pilots, we meet the people on Guernsey and how the war is affecting this small island, and it's very sweet, very emotional. I've heard it gets sad. I'm assuming there's probably some character death because it is a World War II book, but I don't actually know that for sure. I am very, very excited to get to this because I love epistolary stuff, I love World War II stuff, and I love book stuff. I love books about books. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Next up was a recommendation, or the numbers, from my good friend Jenny over at Reading the End, and she gave me the numbers 724, which got us to the Oxford Book of Caribbean Short Stories, which for some reason feels a little fitting for Jenny. There's something vaguely, I think it's the Caribbean overlap. It feels vaguely black salesy, but this was a book that I was assigned for class, edited by Stuart Brown and John Wickham. I still have my class sticky notes in there from what I was assigned to read. But this is literally a collection of short stories from various authors around the Caribbean. There are stories in here from Maurice Condé to Edwin Standcat. I have not picked up this collection in a very long time. There are still stories in this collection that I have not read. And now that it's off my shelf and in my hands, I feel like remedying that and fixing that. So thank you, Jenny, for bringing this book back to my attention so I can finally get into some of the stories that are in here. And then the very last number that I got for this round was another repeat. You guys, I didn't think that would happen. I really didn't think it would happen as often as it actually did. The numbers for this next one came from Tanya Sutton at Next Fave Book. That's shelf 7, book 24 again. And in that case, that is Old Man's War by John Scalzi. This is an oldie but a goldie from Scalzi's oeuvre. It's also the first Scalzi that I ever read. This is the story of a society in which the elderly are allowed to basically recycle their consciousness into the body of the young in order to fight militarily. And we follow the story of a man who chooses to do that. On his 75th birthday, John Perry walks into the office in which that is done, and he chooses to start over. And so we have a bunch of kind of grizzled, older, put upon war vets in young whippersnapper bodies, and the juxtaposition between those two and the world that it creates that John Scalzi operates in is a delight. This kicks off the series, and I really, really highly recommend it. And there you go, guys. There's books from 5 more folks that I pulled off my shelves. Let me know down below if you've read any of these or if you want to read any of these. Leave me a couple more numbers so I can continue to do more of these videos for you guys. Leave me an emoji to let me know you stopped by. Do all the best YouTube things, like, subscribe, hit the bell if you're just that desperate to see my face all the time. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have happy reading.